Good evening, everyone. We want to welcome you today to the North Fish Hatchery Road Reconstruction Public Information Meeting. We had hoped to be able to do this in person with you, but given the conditions surrounding coronavirus, we've decided to do live streaming and to be able to bring this information to you this way. So we're going to start off by introducing our panel today, and those of you that are watching today. We want to introduce you to who's going to be joining us today. First, I have Samantha Herheim, and she is one of the design engineers on the Fish Hatchery Road project. Next to her is Jesse Schreiner, and he is the project manager for the project. You're going to want to get to know him very well because he's going to have a lot of your answers. And then, of course, Bill Balke, who's our senior transportation engineer with the city of Fitchburg. So we're all here today, and of course, I'm Cindy Yagi. I'm the business outreach manager and working with the businesses going through the road construction. So again, we want to welcome you today, and we also want to let you know that we're going to be starting off with giving you some of the project details of the reconstruction that's going to be basically starting early next month. You'll start seeing the orange cones out on Fish Hatchery Road, and so we wanted to make sure that we brought you the most up-to-date information, and also you're going to have a chance to ask some of your questions today too. So I want to put this phone number out there for you. It's 608-270-4225. So we have a bank of staff that are going to be taking your questions, and then they'll get them to us, and we'll go ahead and answer them live for you. In addition to that, we'll be talking about some of the outreach and resources that are available to the businesses and commuters that are going to be using Fish Hatchery Road. And then, of course, like I said, we're going to be answering your questions as well. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Samantha to talk about the project details.
Thanks, Cindy. So we want to give you a brief overview of the project and where we stand today. We are going to be doing a full reconstruction of Fish Hatchery Road from just south of McKee Road to the south Beltline on-ramps. There will be new pavement throughout the entire corridor. There will be intersection improvements throughout. Depending on the intersection, some intersections will have turn lanes added, some intersections will have the same configuration, but the signal timing will be improved. There will be a new signalized intersection at Pike Drive, which is between Post and Greenway. There will also be a signalized intersection at Traceway Drive, which is currently unsignalized. We will be expanding northbound Fish Hatchery Road from McKee Road to Breckenridge Court to match the rest of the corridor. This will be expanded to 3 lanes, and that third lane will act as a shared bus, bike, and right turn lane to match how the rest of the corridor is working. There will be repairs and replacements to water main, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer. There will be new street lighting throughout the corridor, and this new street lighting will be within the terrace of the roadway instead of within the median of the roadway. So that will give better street lighting for pedestrians on sidewalks and bicyclists along the paths. There will be bicycle and pedestrian upgrades throughout the corridor, including a path extension along the west side of the project up to the Beltline, a new bicycle and pedestrian bridge over Nine Springs Creek, updates to intersection crossings, and improved pavement marking and signing for bikes and pedestrians. There will be new bus pads at the bus stops, and in some locations there will be new bus shelters. And there will also be streetscaping throughout the corridor. So our project started in late spring of 2018. We worked on extensive public outreach for this project, including direct mailings, project website. We've sent out things on listserv and social media. This is our 4th project public meeting so far. We've also had community liaison team meetings, focus group meetings, and a lot of coordination with property owners. We have done quite a bit of coordination with agencies and utilities. We finalized the design and put it out for bid in the summer of 2019. Unfortunately, when the bids came back in, they were higher than anticipated. So the design team went back to the table and made some adjustments. We rebid the project in the winter of 2019, and now we're moving forward with a project that will be constructed in 2020 and also in 2021. So what to expect during construction over the next 2 years? What we've done is split up the project. Fish Hatchery Road from Traceway Drive to the Beltline will be constructed in 2020, and Fish Hatchery Road from Brendan Avenue to Traceway Drive will be constructed in 2021. So what to expect this year? Construction will start in the next couple weeks. We expect it to start in April. They'll be working on the northbound lane first, so all of the traffic will be shifted to the southbound lane. We will be maintaining one travel lane in each direction with turn lanes. We'll also be staging intersection closures. So that means if the contractor is working on Greenway Cross, Post Road will be open and accessible, and vice versa. We'll also be maintaining access to properties, businesses, and residences throughout the project. And there will be temporary bus stops as well. So we have done some work to try to minimize impacts to the traveling public, to the businesses, and the residences along the corridor. That includes limiting the construction on the north end of the project to a single year in 2020. We're going to be providing a signed alternate route for County Highway D. We do have a business outreach manager, Cindy, on our project team. We've created a mitigation plan for any traffic issues that may happen if vehicles are using other local streets trying to avoid the Fish Hatchery Road area. We are going to be sequencing and expediting intersection construction. We've been coordinating with Metro Transit and also have been doing a lot of work with businesses. So now I will turn this back over to Cindy.
Thanks, Samantha. Well, as the business outreach manager, first and foremost, we want to emphasize that the businesses will all be open. They're still going to be operating, and we want everybody to patronize these businesses during this period of road construction. This is the time when they need you the most, and so don't avoid the area. Make sure that you are continuing to shop and buy and dine locally. As with the Fish Hatchery Road project, we do have a business outreach effort that we will be working on together. Part of what we'll be doing is targeted advocacy for the businesses. By that, what I mean is that if any of the businesses have questions about their access, about the staging, about the scheduling, about virtually almost anything that's affecting your business, please feel free to reach out to me through email, through phone call, whatever. And my job really is to triage those calls and make sure that they get to the right people so that we can get back to you and get answers to you generally within 24 to 48 hours. In addition to that, we'll be doing education and communication. Communication is going to be a big part of what we do. We'll be getting information from the contractor that's working on the road construction. We'll get that latest update, and we'll make sure that that gets communicated out to all of you who are on our distribution lists. So if you do want this information, please feel free to make sure that you're signing up on Notify Me or through our social media, the city's webpage, so that we can be communicating with you on a regular basis. And then I'll help also with marketing and promotions for the businesses as well during this period of time. We may be doing construction specials for those restaurants in the area. We've got all kinds of ideas and best practices that we learned from the Verona Road project, and we'll be working to implement those here as well. My job is to work with all of the businesses that are being impacted in and along Fish Hatchery Road. So again, please feel free to be able to reach out and contact me, as again, I'm working very closely with the project manager, with Bill Balke, the city engineer, with Samantha, and everybody that's involved with the project. And we'll be, as I mentioned, providing outreach and road construction staging schedules, and especially the business access. I know there are a lot of businesses that have already been contacting me and reaching out and saying, hey, what's going to be happening with my business access and alternate routes and things like that. So we'll make sure that we get that information disseminated out. And one thing to mention for sure is that there'll be, at all times, there'll be one lane open in each direction. I know in the past there was some miscommunication that went out, but we will have one lane open in each direction. Fish Hatchery Road will be open at all times, and so we'll make sure that the traffic is flowing. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the community resources that are available. Of course, starting off with Bill Balke, who is our senior transportation engineer and is heading up this project. Certainly, he is able to be reached if you have questions. As I mentioned, as the business outreach manager, I am available, by email or by phone for you to reach out to me and to be able to ask your questions. Jesse Schreiner, who we mentioned and introduced at the beginning, is he is the project manager on this road construction project, and he's going to be a good person for you all to get to know as well. But in addition to that, we have neighborhood navigators as well who are working at the various different apartments. They are bilingual, and they also will be helping us disseminate the information about the road construction to all of our neighbors living in and around the area as well. The Fitchburg Chamber and Visitors Bureau is also available to help us with any marketing and promotional efforts. They want to be able to support their members and make sure that everybody is still patronizing the businesses. They're a great resource as well, and they can be reached out to at any time as well. And of course, don't be afraid to reach out to your city alders and if there are questions that you have, and they can always get those to us as well. In addition to that, we want you to be prepared. We want you to be updated on all the information. So the city website is going to be updated on a regular basis. Generally every week, the newest update will be out there. If you want that information, just sign up for Notify Me, and we will be able to get that information to you. In addition to that, I wanted to mention that we're very social. We're on social media, and so we have a Facebook page. It's called the Fitchburg Transportation Projects. Go on out there, and that's also a great place to ask your questions, and we normally respond. We're very responsive. We normally respond within an hour or right around there as well. And we also have a Twitter page as well too. So, and in addition to that, our partners at Fact TV do a great job of getting the information out here, putting it out on their resources as well, putting the link out there. This program itself will be put out as a link for everybody to be able to access either tonight or tomorrow as well. Okay, I mentioned that we, as a business outreach manager, will be working with marketing and promotions. There's a lot that can be done to help businesses that are going through and surviving road construction. And we find that if we bring businesses together and get them collaborating and sharing resources, their marketing and promotion dollars will go a lot further. So we will be getting the businesses together and talking about how best to promote your businesses, possibly doing promotional events on Small Business Saturday. We certainly want to have an event or a promotion when we open the road and things in 2020 and also in 2021. We'll be doing some marketing seminars, especially surrounding signage. Signage is a big issue when we go through road construction projects. We want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information on the city's ordinances as it relates to signage for your businesses, because that is your branding and that is how your customers are going to find you. In addition to that, very quickly after this meeting, I'll be going out and meeting with the businesses and providing you with a survival guide for some tips on surviving the road construction and some marketing materials that you'll have access through the website on as well, too. And we want to make sure that each and every one of you take a look at your own signage and that you make it very clear that you're open for business and how they should access your business during road construction. So, And then real quickly, just some tips for surviving road construction. It's extremely important to get involved early, to get informed, to be prepared. Obviously, we had hoped to be able to be in front of you today in person with this information, with this meeting, but we will have regular ongoing meetings to keep everybody updated, open houses, so that you can see the staging maps, you can ask your questions, so we will make that information available to you. Communicate early and often with your customers, with your commuters, your suppliers, your vendors. It's not too early at this point already to be talking to your vendors and suppliers and letting them know that they're going to have road construction coming up in just a few weeks, and to prepare them as well. Update your website with information about the road construction. Customers and really want to know how to access your business. So. We also encourage you to put up temporary signage as well. So there might be sandwich boards or banners or things like that you can put up that basically say, you're open for business and this is how to access your business during this period of time. As I mentioned, one of the best practices that we've learned from working with road construction with other projects is to get our businesses working together, collaborating together, and truly sharing their resources so that they can literally help each other with promoting each other's businesses, hosting events, and again, marketing the entire area so that people don't avoid the area. We also find that it's very important to stay positive during this period of time. It's important that the message to your customers and your employees is that we're making these changes to increase safety. The road is going to be so much nicer and more efficient when it's done, and really communicate that to your customers and everybody coming into your business. Keep it a positive environment. Keep it very upbeat as well. Increase your marketing and promotions during this period of time. A lot of times businesses during construction are tightening their budgets, and that's a time when they think, well, I'll cut back on my marketing and promotions, but instead this should be the time that you increase those spending dollars, because again, we want people coming into the area, not avoiding the area. And we're going to make contact information available to you. You're going to want to keep that contact information handy. Please feel free to contact and reach out to myself as the business outreach manager, or to any of our team that's sitting here in front of you. We're all accessible and available, and most of us answer our phones most of the day. Okay. So here's our contact information for staying informed on the project. As I mentioned, the city has a very extensive project website. The information is on the screen there. On there, you're going to find the staging maps. You're going to find alternate routes. You're going to find basically any and all information that you're going to need for keeping up to date. I also mentioned our Facebook page. That is a place too, even tonight, if you have questions. We are monitoring our Facebook page. We will be responding to any questions that come in through that page as well. And then we have a Twitter page as well, too, so that you can access that. So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to throw that phone number out again. It is 608-270-4225. And it's like a telethon here. We're ready to answer your questions. So please feel free to give us a call.
All right. So we'll start with the first question that we have. Where can I find more more information about the whole project? And we've kind of simplified the website is fitchburgwi.gov/FHRC. I keep forgetting that. North Fish Hatchery, NFHRC. North Fish Hatchery Road Construction. I can only remember that.
Acronyms are supposed to be so easy.
They are supposed to be easy. Unfortunately, I can't remember when I'm in front of a camera. So to that effect, we've got 5 letters after that, NFHRC, and that'll take you right to the project page that Cindy had mentioned, that we can have all of the website all the accurate, up-to-date information, news and notes, construction plans, etc. So.
All right.
Yeah, and it's been updated to expand on some of the exhibits. There are links out there too that kind of give you how we got here. I know Sam was talking about some of the design aspects and what went into all that. So if you're curious how we got to this point, and now we're kind of talking about what to expect, but if you do need to dive into some of those details as to how we got here, just a reminder that that's out there as well. Looking forward, construction actually, it was kind of a kickoff today. We had a pre-construction meeting and a utility meeting where we were able to kind of start getting the ball rolling and talking about having boots on the ground. So as Cindy alluded to earlier, we are looking at getting some orange drums and some signage out there here in the next couple weeks. Actually, I believe the 27th was the first day that I heard having drums and message boards out there just to get, you know, kind of that flash for all the commuters that are going to be driving through that area, to give them the heads up that construction is going to start here the 1st of April. And when we do that, to kind of dive into some of the staging a little deeper, we'll be working on the median area from Traceway to the Beltline, and that work's going to consist of making sure we have access to all the buildings, because we are going to start off by constructing that northbound, those existing northbound lanes. So for instance, you've got coffee shops, some restaurants, I know there's some oil changes, CUNA, I believe is, or not CUNA, I'm sorry, the UW Credit Union is along that corridor. So we want to make sure that, you know, the public has access to that. So that'll be how we're starting off. Once we're able to complete that, maybe mid-April, you know, weather depending, of course, we want to be able to switch traffic over to the southbound. As again was mentioned earlier, we'll be maintaining one lane in each direction. There will be a two-way left turn lane in the middle. They call it a twiddle. So then that way, either direction, northbound or southbound, will be able to make that left-hand turn to access their business. And then hopefully by midsummer, we're going to turn around and start constructing the southbound lanes, throw all the traffic onto the new northbound lanes, and hopefully wrap that up sometime in the fall, and then be jumping back into the median to make sure everything ties together nicely.
It looks like we have another question. Will there be any other public information meetings?
We're planning on having quarterly public informational meetings. We haven't set those dates up yet, but approximately every 2 to 3 months, before the next major switchover of traffic, we'll be going through what those upcoming stages are going to be, how it might impact your business or your commute through the area. So it's an open house, similar to what is being done for the Verona Road project, if you've ever been to those. We'll just have some maps up on the wall. You can come on in, ask questions, see what's going on for the next couple of months and how that might impact you.
All right. And Jesse, if you want to take this one, will there be any work done in the overnight hours?
So we do have some work to upgrade and expand the existing water infrastructure underground. So some of that connection is going to require crossing the Fish Hatchery Road, and to do that, to mitigate some of those traffic impacts, we're going to be doing that at night. Also talking with some of the electrical contractors. We have temporary signals that are going to have to be put up, and to be honest, the easiest time to do that is at night when we have to span the wires across the road. So that'll be another aspect. Again, all of these are going to be very intermittent and at night in off-peak hours, so really shouldn't be impacting travel lanes. There will be notification going out ahead of time if we're going to do a closure at night, so everyone's aware of what's going on. But yes, and the short answer, yes, there'll be a little night work, and no, it shouldn't really be some ongoing over and over noise kind of impact that you're going to have to work through. So it should be pretty minimal.
All right. Another question is, what are some of the detours set up at? I guess Jesse and I can both take this one. We will have a signed alternate route for the county highway, which will start by County Highway M and then route people both east or west, depending on kind of what their ultimate destination is. And there will also be assigned alternate route if you're heading towards Fish Hatchery Road, heading southbound along the Beltline as well. So that'll be kind of a larger regional alternate route signage that'll be happening. We do also have some alternate or detour routes that will be signed for bicyclists. Bicyclists can choose to ride through the construction area, which will be basically with the regular vehicular lanes that will be open in the area. Or if they prefer, they'll be able to take the detour routes that'll be signed along some of the bike paths, which will take them kind of off-road, but not very far out of the way of the project area, just to kind of give them a little bit of a buffer area. And actually for pedestrians as well, the sidewalk will be open on the side of the road where basically where the traffic is, and we will have temporary crosswalks for roadway crossings, and people will still be able to access businesses. The sidewalk will generally be closed on the side where construction is occurring, but we will again have access to businesses.
So I'm going to just
Yep.
kind of follow up on that. So talking about pedestrians, as she mentioned, it'll be available, the sidewalks, for instance, when we start and we're constructing the northbound, the sidewalk will be available on the southbound side or the west side of the road. With that, as she I mentioned, with the temporary crosswalks, just to add to that, if you have any ADA or kind of issues getting across the road, some of the intermediate or temporary accommodations include like a paved crosswalk. There's also going to be a rail that'll have a tow rail, a handrail. So we're going to try to make it as easy as we can to get you through the construction zone. So if you're heading east-west, along Post or any of those intersections along the Fish Hatchery corridor, we want to make sure that you have access to those areas. We also talked about just with the detours. At a high level, we're talking about vehicles, and the funny thing is everyone knows this Fish Hatchery Road. It's also County Highway D, so Dane County's been very involved with us and has been up front. Most of you probably had to drive through, I believe it was County M last year that got milled and overlaid. Part of that was due to Verona Road, and try to get ahead and anticipate the detours and diversion traffic for the Fish Hatchery Road. So Dane County's been trying to be proactive in that respect, to work with us and work with the municipalities to make sure that we're getting everybody where they need to go. There will be the signed detours to the east and to the west of County D. And then if you kind of zoom in on that, we also have worked through some neighborhood diversion traffic management plans and protocols and processes to accommodate, we understand that not everybody's going to be jumping on a county highway or a state highway, that there are local streets that are going to be impacted by this, and that we wanted to make sure that there are measures in place to help accommodate those people. So if there's crosswalks or putting a fresh coat of paint or working with the city and putting flags on stop signs, we want to make sure that all those local property owners, homeowners, businesses all still kind of aren't being overwhelmed by traffic if that is the case, and they do local motorists want to use those kind of side roads. And then the third we kind of talked about was the multimodal with the pedestrians and the bicyclists. And Sam, you can talk to this a lot more on the design, but we worked with quite a few different bike enthusiasts and organizations to try to come up with those plans. So we weren't just pulling the detours out of thin air. We were trying to get your guys' advice, so that way we knew the preferred routes and understood what the want was, and to be able to kind of provide that. So to make that as seamless or painless as possible, but we'll see. Yeah.
All right. It looks like our next question is, how are you going to access the businesses when it goes down to one lane? So Jesse, I think you had sort of mentioned earlier, we will be maintaining vehicular traffic. It'll be one lane in each direction. And we'll also have a turn lane, so people will be able to make turns into businesses. We may have to shift driveway locations a little bit, or maybe close down half of a driveway at a time while we're reconstructing that driveway. But we will always provide an access point for vehicles to pull into businesses and also residences.
So
Yep.
yeah, two ways to look at that. One is if you're the public and you're trying to get to a business, for instance, again, if we're starting and we're building northbound lanes and the paved road, you're going to be driving on the existing southbound lanes. We will have that twiddle in the middle, so that's a dual left-hand turn, so you'll be able to turn in, and then we'll have drums that kind of direct you into those driveways. So you will have to cross over some type of temporary construction area, but we'll have that gravelled or maintained to some degree that it'll be accessible to vehicles. And then also if you're talking about access and you're a business owner, Sam talked about staging it. We're going to be doing a lot of coordination and talking to business owners beforehand to make sure, there are shared access points. Is that an opportunity for us to go through one driveway and leave the other driveway open, or do we have to do half the driveway at one time? But that'll be a conversation that we're going to have with the business owners before we're actually doing the work. We want to make sure that we're being proactive and integrating, their needs and wants and concerns. So with that, I guess that's a two-sided coin, but we will be maintaining access throughout the project.
So another question we have is, will this project take longer than 2 years? This has been a change. For those of you who were maybe looking at some of the information earlier on the website, or maybe attended some of the earlier public meetings, what we were originally working on was having the entire project completed in 1 year, with some kind of prep work done this year, or I'm sorry, in 2019, it's already 2020, in last year, and then kind of the final streetscaping completion in 2021. Because we ended up kind of going back to the drawing table and doing some redesign after that first round of bids came in a little bit high, we were no longer able to do any of that prep work in 2019, so we ended up splitting the project. So we'll have Traceway to the Beltline done in 2020, and what we'll do is that section will be the focus of the project, and that'll be done and buttoned up before the end of the construction year. And then in 2021, we'll start on Brendan Avenue, which is just south of McKee Road, and work up to Traceway. We'll be working on that section in 2021, and then that'll be completely done and buttoned up at the end of 2021. So it's a little bit different than what we were originally planning on, but I think this is a good way to tackle this project and still minimize impacts on the north end, and still get good bid prices for the project.
And elaborate on traffic at the end of each year. So we're going to reconstruct from Traceway to the north. We're going to have all those lanes, so that'll be 6 lanes. I mean, the outside lane being multi-use, but that should be available every winter. And then in the spring again is when we're going to switch and reduce traffic. So in the winter, in the off season, there's going to be full mobility within that corridor, and we tried to, as Sam kind of said, we wanted to stick to the north end to make sure that all those businesses were addressed in 1 year rather than trying to build the northbound lanes for the entire length of the project. Also, if anyone's aware, the Beltline has been an ongoing project for a handful of years, but there's also talk of the hard shoulder, where they're talking about putting the median lane, turning that into a high occupancy vehicle lane, or I'm not sure about
shoulder.
Yeah, hard running shoulder. Mm-hmm. But anyways, they've been talking about that work's going to be going on in 21. So that's another reason why we wanted to start in the north end, to get out of the way so we're not impacting or at least mitigating any impacts with the Beltline in 21. And then talking about scheduling in 22, or if there's going to be any work in 22. Again, in 21, then the whole corridor will be open to lanes. The caveat might be that in the fall, when we're trying to put plantings in, or if it starts getting really cold, are we going to get all our pavement marking down? There might be incidental operations that are going to carry over, but for all intents and purposes, that should all be done. And the goal is to find efficiencies as we're going, and if we can find some of those in 2020 that can get us ahead in 21, we're going to take advantage of those as well. So we've been in a lot of conversations, again, with the pre-construction meeting today. That was a great kickoff to talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to, get our boots on the ground and get a good start from the beginning. So
All right. Our next question is, how can I find out what is happening week to week on this project? And Cindy, let's start with you.
Okay, I'll take that one. We will be communicating on a weekly basis. As I mentioned, there'll be a construction meeting so that we'll get the latest and most relevant information of that as we do a look ahead for that next week or 2 weeks out. We'll take that information, we'll put it together in weekly construction notes. Those will be put out on the city's web page. We'll also be putting out links on our Facebook page as well, so that again, we want to encourage you to be really cognizant of watching those on a regular basis. And then again, if you are signed up for Notify Me, anytime anything changes on the website, you're going to get a notification of that as well. So we're going to make sure that we try to keep you as up to date and informed as possible. As we know the information, we'll turn that around on a timely basis and get that to you.
All right. Another question?
Hey, I'm going to jump in.
Yes, please.
No, I was just going to say thank you for being the MC. So, helping us out here. So we're kind of all just, if you guys aren't involved here, we are kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and we're trying to twist from a more conversation-oriented approach to this, because we thought we'd be able to go more hand in hand and talk person to person at our open house. And so we're trying to figure things out as we go. So thanks everybody for bearing with us and trying to stay tuned. But yeah, so I know questions are kind of coming in, and we'll keep going with that. But I just wanted to say thanks everyone for bearing with us, and we'll jump into the next one.
Thanks, Jesse. The next question is, can you talk about the phases of the project again? Jesse, do you want to talk through what we can expect kind of phase by phase?
Sure. Unless Bill wants to.
You can tag team. You do A and B, and I'll do C and D.
Sure. So for 2020, we are looking at getting some traffic control out here. I think the week of the is that the 21st or 2nd? I think we were talking the 27th to get some signage and drums out. And then we'll be starting with Stage A, which would consist of providing some temporary access in the existing median north of Traceway. So from Traceway to the Beltline, Stage A, for the first couple weeks of April, we're going to build some temporary access points. So then when we switch to Stage B and we construct the northbound lanes and all that traffic is in the existing southbound lanes, we're going to have those temporary access points already available for the public to access the different businesses. And that should take up somewhere into July. We have some, within that Stage B, we have some work at Post Road where that's going to be closed for a while, but bus access is going to be available. And then when we get up to Greenway Cross, that is going to be a staged intersection. So there is access throughout that Stage B portion of that in that area, but there is also a portion within Stage B at Greenway Cross that, due to the staging, there will only be access coming from coming from Fish Hatchery and then heading east on Greenway Cross. So we'll be reconstructing the east half or the east leg of Greenway Cross, and then within those stages there will be one interim stage, if you will, where we'll only have traffic heading eastbound. So they'll have to curl back around, take Index, and come back out on Post to be able to access Fish Hatchery Road. And then we will switch to Stage C.
C. All right. In Stage C, actually I wanted to back up to B for a second. In B, I just wanted to note that all the intersections on the east side or the west side of the Fish Hatchery Road will be open. So getting to the school, getting to Traceway, Post Road, Greenway, all those accesses going to the west or going toward out of to the west, I guess, will be open. So not until we get into Stage C that you're going to start to see some of those traffic changes affect the intersections there. In Stage C, what's going to happen is we're going to be closing down Traceway Drive, and there will be limited traffic on Post Road, and a portion of Greenway Cross will also be impacted by traffic. The traffic, when we're reconstructing on Greenway Cross, will get routed up through the West Beltline frontage road, and we'll be moving bus shelters around and bus stops around, so transit will be able to get that information out there a couple of weeks in advance. So when we're doing that construction, that should start in around beginning of July and head up into the beginning of October. So I guess Stage C is impactful to all the businesses on the west side of Fitchburg, or the west side of Fish Hatchery Road, and moving forward from there.
And let me just add to that too. We're talking about intersections. Whenever, for instance, Traceway is going to be closed, they cannot do the work and close Traceway while they're doing any work on Post Road. So with those two roads, if you're familiar with the area, they connect just to the west of Fish Hatchery Road. So one of those two roads is always going to be available. And then we have a similar situation with Greenway Cross, that when they're working on Greenway Cross and we need to close something down, they cannot be working on Post Road. So we try to coordinate that to make sure that there's always going to be a couple avenues to head to the west side if you need to do that. And then again, we've talked about some of those neighborhood diversion attributes that we're going to try to make sure that, if traffic's taking a different route, that we're connecting with the community. We're going to be looking at you guys too, to be getting involved and reaching out to Cindy and the project team to make sure that if you're aware of a situation or something that's reoccurring, that if we can help, we want to do our part and make sure that we mitigate any of those traffic or safety issues.
All right. And Jesse, I'll have you jump right into the next question. When will construction start and end for 2020?
So we are looking at getting drums out. Again, I believe I said the 27th. We're looking at putting drums out, and then the week of the 29th. I'm sorry, I should have checked my calendar here and memorized that a little better. But I believe the 29th, then you'll start seeing some operations going on, and then the 6th, I think, is the following Monday, 5th or 6th, and then that's when we will be full go in construction. And again, all of this is weather dependent. We got to make sure that all the contractors fall in line and that their operation is available. Asphalt doesn't start up till weather starts to warm up, so that kind of dictates when we can start, and then we're going to be working backwards from that. So these are all anticipated dates, but after we left the meeting today, those are some of the dates that were being thrown around. So I guess I want to take one step back, but those are the anticipated start dates. And then looking into the fall, I believe October 12th? Is that mid-October? We're going to work through October, and I don't see why that date shouldn't hit. My hope is that we're going to be looking ahead to see how we can expedite some of that 2021 work. But again, making sure weather and everything come together, that's always a question mark at this time of year. So.
All right. And we did have another question about the schedule and if there would be a schedule available to review. I guess, Jesse, I was hoping you could talk a little bit about Jesse and Bill, the newsletter you guys are talking about putting together as kind of a look forward, because as you mentioned, things will be evolving with weather and other kind of unknowns right now, but can you talk a little bit more to that?
Well, I guess I can.
Sure.
We do have a schedule that was given to us by the contractor this morning, and we're trying to generalize that a little bit so that it doesn't have those hard dates in there, but it'll give a general schedule update that shows during this time, like say from April through the end of June, we're going to be in stage B, and these are the impacts that you can look forward to. And then as we get into the weekly construction meetings, we'll be posting updates on what's been completed, what's looking ahead for the next week or two, any major changes that are coming up, and how we might be able to mitigate those. And we'll have those posted on our website, and Cindy and I will be working with the businesses out there to be able to bring that information to you.
Yeah, just to expand, we'll be, after our weekly meetings, internally we'll have all those minutes that we disseminate, but then we try to also provide some high-level kind of what to anticipate. So definitely Bill, myself, and then we'll be coordinating with Cindy to make sure that she's connecting with the businesses and that information's being dispersed throughout any of the different resources. Is that the website? Is it person to person? We also have some maps that we're going to put out there for businesses that kind of relay some of that access. I know we were talking earlier on how do people access to businesses. We do have a few maps. I think they're out on the website that show access and where that's going to be for each stage. So I implore you to go out there and take a look at all those different exhibits to give you a better idea how you can help direct. We talked about signage and some of that promotional information, marketing that you're going to get out there. There's a lot of resources on the website right now that are exhibits that you can print off, that you can hand out, that you can talk through or use as talking points. So again, make sure you're checking out what's available on the website and using those resources.
All right. Another question is, will there be a reduction in speed through the construction zone?
Good question.
Good question. So there are 2 different speed limits within the project area, and there will be a reduction in speed in the area that's currently 40 miles an hour. The area from Post to the north to the Beltline is currently 30 miles an hour, and that will remain 30 miles an hour. All right. So next question.
So these aren't our computers, but we're going to see how IT savvy we are here and try to bring up an exhibit because we want to kind of show you guys a map. So I know we've been talking through a lot of this stuff, but we want to see if we can get something out there so we can talk through a map with you guys. So looking at this map, this is sure. Yeah. So this is So where's my mouse here? Okay, so here's my mouse. Stage A is where technically we're going to start with the little line in between the A and the B. We got to do some temporary accommodations in the median, which is going to be right down the middle. And then we're going to switch over and we're going to start and construct this yellow portion, which starts about just north of 9 Springs and south of Traceway. And then we'll reconstruct that portion up to the Beltline, just north of Greenway Cross. It includes the entire east half of that intersection. We're also going to, in that segment, build Pike Drive, which is a new intersection that is located between Post and Greenway Cross, about the midpoint, just south of the UW Credit Union. And then we're also going to reconstruct the east half of Post, and there's a new section or a new intersection. Traceway is going to be extended east, and that's going to be called Bowman Drive. Is that correct? Yep. So we have a new extension right there where the juice plant, if you guys have been driving Fish Hatchery Road lately, and there's a chain link fence and a whole bunch of construction going on. Just to the north of that, we're actually going to extend that intersection. So Traceway will no longer be a T. You'll be able to continue to the east, well, at least to the beginning, while that's all being developed, and the future kind of is a little gray right now, but they're anticipating more development in that area. And then after that stage, we're going to switch over to this blue section, and that's going to include that west leg of Greenway Cross. And just to keep everyone informed of what's going on, the intersections on the east half just kind of come through the radius into the tangent section, and then we kind of stop those intersections. On the west side of the road, we go back, well, I take that back. Greenway, we do go past the KFC entrance, I think, is kind of where our limit is to the east. And then when we get to the west, we actually reconstruct Greenway Cross all the way through, is it Bryant?
Correct.
Yeah, Bryant. And there's actually a mini roundabout that's going on in there, so kind of like Williamsburg Way, is it? I would say kind of, if you're looking for a reference point, where the old Quick Trip was right there, that's a smaller roundabout that will be constructed and installed on the west side of Greenway Cross right there. And then we will continue and build that blue section all the way down to just south of Traceway. And Traceway intersection, the west leg gets reconstructed. That post is reconstructed in stations, in stages, so that's always open. And then I'm trying to think if I'm missing any intersections in there. There's several businesses within that area that we're going to have to stage those driveways. There's that mall in there, so the mall will still have some type of access, but there's also access off of Post Road, I believe. So just to remind everyone that there are multiple access points along that segment. And then in stage D, we're going to go back and then make sure that our medians are connected, and that should complete that blue and yellow stage in the north half, and that's our 2020 work. And then in 21, we're going to try to rinse and repeat. We're going to build the orange and construct those northbound lanes, and then we're going to jump over and construct the green, which is the southbound from Traceway to just south of McKee Road to Brendan. And then in the final stage, kind of fix up or connect the median work. So there is a little pre-work that will be going on in the spring of 2021. That's at McKee Road. McKee, that intersection gets widened quite a bit, add a lot of capacity going down. So there's going to be dual left turn lanes. For northbound Fish Hatchery Road, if you're looking to take a left to get on McKee, I know currently there's only one left turn lane, and that can back up quite a bit. So that capacity be expanded or increased, and then same with McKee turning north onto Fish Hatchery Road. I believe that stays 2 dual lefts. And so that expands into that green space that's just to the south half of the McKee Road. So that whole intersection gets shoved just a little bit to the south, but it will be expanded. And that's, yeah, sorry. Did I hit on everything?
That's perfect.
Sorry.
Yep. That's great. And we will have these exhibits available on the city website for reference as well. And Cindy, do you have can we give everybody the city website again?
And in fact, we're going to keep on getting this information out. So to access the city website, go out there to fitchburgwisconsin.gov and access it at FHR Recon. Is that correct?
That's one of them.
Okay. And that'll get you the most information, on the city's page. But then don't forget about our Facebook page as well. And that's Fitchburg, Wisconsin Transportation Projects. Used to be the Verona Road Business Coalition's Facebook page, but it's been transferred now. And then we also have a Twitter handle as well, Fitchburg WI_TP. So you can access the information at any of these places, and then also make sure that you sign up for Notify Me so that you get the updates we've been talking about, the alternate routes, anything that we're putting out there. So
Great. And since we're talking about contact, Cindy, can you give us your telephone number one more time?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Happy to. My phone number is 608-712-1980. I'll answer that mostly until probably midnight. After that, I try to get some sleep. Or you can email me at cjaggiedp@tds.net. Either one will work. I am available to take the questions. If I can't answer them, I will triage them to our project team here, who are very qualified, and we will get you an answer back, as I mentioned, generally within 24 to 48 hours.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
It looks like we have another question from viewers. The question is, when reconstruction ends, will there be medians as there are now with trees and other plantings? Yes, there will be. We are changing widths of some of the roadway lanes, some of the medians, but overall it will look and feel a lot like it does today. We are going to have some really nice streetscaping elements that we put back, some of which will be softscape, landscaping, trees, native plantings, and then we'll also have some really cool hardscaping elements, which will be decorative concrete and other sort of focal points of interest. So there will be medians, and actually there'll be some really, really nice decorative elements that'll be incorporated into the medians and some of the terrace areas at the end of the project. All right. It looks like we have another question. Are there any new intersections being added in? And Bill, do you want to take that one?
I'll take that one, yeah. We are going to be installing a new intersection at Pike Drive, which is going to be in between Post Road and Greenway Cross, about midway, just south of UW Credit Union. That intersection will serve future development and a future connection to Index Road. So we'll be installing that along with a new traffic signal, and there'll be driveway access to UW Credit Union and the Avalon site. So that's our new intersection, and as Jesse mentioned earlier, we are going to be signalizing the intersection of Traceway Drive with this project in this year. So Traceway Drive and then the extension of Bowman Drive to the east. So two newer intersections, one going from a T to a full intersection with signals, and then a brand new intersection up at Pike Drive.
Or do we want to close up? Are we wrapping up?
So,
I would just quick, I wanted to add, we've talked about different types of access. One thing just to throw in again is the bus access, that there are going to be temporary bus stops. So even though we're shifting traffic around, we are going to accommodate bus stops. So just wanted to throw that in there as one last thought.
I just want to say that we're all in this together. You have your project team in front of you here, and there's also the road construction team as well. They're a very experienced road construction team who's done several of the other road construction projects in the area as well. So just know that we're all in this together. We're going to join hands. We're going to communicate and collaborate together, and we are going to make it to the other side of this. So. And then when we do, we're going to celebrate that. We're going to have fun, and we're going to, get everybody through this construction period. So again, we want to thank you for joining us here tonight and all your questions. Hopefully we've answered everything that came through. But again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to any of us here, and we will make sure that we get your questions answered. And don't forget to go out to the city's webpage, our Facebook page, our Twitter, call us directly. So we are here for you to help you through this process. So again, thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll be back in touch soon.